Welcome everyone. Jason here to walk you through the ins and outs of paragraph and character styles in InDesign. Now, what is a paragraph style? What is a character style? Well, styles are a combination of font and size and formatting, all put together into one easy style that you can simply click on and apply all those attributes. So to call up your paragraph and character styles panels, go into the window, you have styles, there's your character and paragraph styles. Those will pop up as separate panels. I also have my properties panel up here. If your screen isn't large enough to show your control bar up here, then your properties panel will go ahead and duplicate what's here in the control bar. So a paragraph style is a set of options. And I'll show you what those are. So paragraph styles go through and they allow you to choose your font, your style, your size, any type of horizontal or vertical scaling, indents, justification, left indent, right indent, and how much space after each paragraph you get. You can also set your tabs in a style, have paragraph rules, lines above or below a paragraph. Put a border or shading behind a paragraph. Keep options on how the paragraph is going to stay together when you're working with multiple columns or over multiple pages. Turning on and turning off your hyphenation. Justification on how this is going to flow through your document. How you can have this flow through multiple columns. Drop caps and nested styles. Bullets and numbering, character color, and a whole bunch of other items that can all be combined into one clickable action. So instead of setting each and every one of these things manually every single time you format copy, we're going to format the copy, create a style, and apply it throughout our document. So before we begin, one of the keys to making this work is under the Type menu, down at the bottom, Show Hidden Characters. Hidden characters are going to be all of the non-printing characters, any space, any return, any time we enter in a tab. These are all non-printing characters, but these all have an effect on what happens with our actual styles. So turning on your hidden characters is something that you have to have on in order to fully understand how this works. Now, if you are in full screen mode and you press the letter W, full screen mode will not show you your hidden characters. Even though we have them turned on, you don't see them. And full screen mode gets rid of your margins and your column guides and your text frame. So we are going to work in normal mode so we can see our paragraph formatting, all of our spaces, and all of our hidden characters. So normally when people go in and they format, they're very used to using Word or any other type editor. And if they want to change the spacing on lines, they simply go in and hit the return key twice. But the problem with this is that you have to do this every single time, and you have to remember to do this every time. Well, any time that you have to press the return key or the space bar or the tab key twice, there's a better way to do that using paragraph formatting. So I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to get rid of all of my extra paragraph returns to make this go a whole lot better. Why am I going to get rid of all my unnecessary paragraph returns? Because paragraph styles are going to be our main formatting portion of our body of text. And all of our paragraph formatting is going to be triggered by paragraph returns. If you have too many paragraph returns, you are going to get a very oddly styled set of copy. So we want to make sure that we only have the necessary paragraph returns in here. And simply breaking a paragraph, that's all we need. These extra paragraph returns are going to come out, and we are going to make sure we build in our extra space after our paragraphs without having to put in the paragraph returns. So one of the easiest ways to get rid of the paragraph returns that are not of any help to the formatting, but just there for extra spacing, is to go under the Edit menu, and I'm going to choose the Find Change option. And that Find Change option allows you to choose from a drop-down list of things that we would normally find in formatted copy. And one of the things that we have is multiple returns to a single return. This is the code to search for multiple turns and change it to a single return that just breaks the paragraph. I want to search my entire story, which is my entire text container, and choose Change All. It will take out all of those unnecessary paragraph returns, leaving all the single paragraph returns in so that my formatting can be done correctly. Once I'm done with the Find Change, I click the Done button. Now, how does this work? Well, what I want to do is I'd like to go in and I'd like to set my heading, I'd like to set my intro, I'd like to set my subheads, my body copy. So instead of going in and triple clicking to get the entire line of copy, and then choosing a font that I'd like to use, coming down, running through all my different fonts, what would I like to use for a nice header here? Well, I'm going to pick just a basic font here, and I think Avenir looks really good. I'm going to choose Avenir next, and then I'm going to choose a bolder typeface for my headline, and I'm going to bump up the type size. Okay, so this is what I'd like to have as the title of my document. Now, if I needed to set this title for my document, I would have to remember what font I chose, the style, the leading, the kerning, the tracking, everything else. But instead, what we're going to do is we're going to capture this as a paragraph style, putting all of these settings together so I don't have to remember this. Now, one key thing to setting a style: whenever you format copy, always include that paragraph return. If that paragraph return isn't included, you are going to have formatting issues, because this, while it's a non-printing character, is still an integral part of your font and your size and all of your formatting selections. So this is going to be my actual header. Now, I would like some more space after my header, so I'm not going to go in and put in another paragraph return, because if I do, you'll notice that this paragraph return is also formatted exactly the same with its font, style, leading, and maybe I don't want this amount of space here. So, no extra returns. I'm going to go in and I'm going to select the entire paragraph, meaning from the very beginning all the way through, including that paragraph return hidden character. I'm going to switch over to my paragraph formatting, and then, because of this paragraph return when I'm in my paragraph formatting, I'm going to add space after. What is space after? It is space after that paragraph return. Paragraph formatting is triggered by the paragraph character, the actual return key. So every time we put in a paragraph return, any of our paragraph formatting that we put in here, our left, centered, right, justified, left to right indents, first line indent, space before the paragraph, space after the paragraph, is all triggered by this paragraph return. If you do not put a paragraph return in, the paragraph does not end and the formatting does not end. So think of this as a light switch. This is the trigger that controls the paragraph formatting. So when I talk about space before or space after, it is always space before or space after this paragraph return. So setting my headline here, I go into my paragraph formatting and I put this amount of space after my paragraph, which means every time I create this header, I will get this exact same space. I don't have to remember this. I'm going to format this into my style. So I've decided that I'm also going to change the color of my type. So go back to my character formatting, click on my color drop-down menu, and I think I'm going to make my headline 80% black tint. Now, if I like what I see here, and I've got my font choice, and I've got my leading, and I've got my character size and my leading, and I've got my paragraph formatting and my color, I'm ready to capture this as a paragraph style, taking all of this and creating one style out of this. So I go and I copy all my content. I go and I highlight all my content, go to my paragraph styles drop-down menu, choose new paragraph style, and I'm going to name my paragraph style. So I'm going to call this my header. I do not want it based on any other style. I want it to be its own style all by itself. Here in the style settings, it shows me that this is the font, this is the style, the size, and any other attributes I've applied to this. Check this button, Apply Style to Selection. Keep this checked the entire time. I don't know why they don't have this as a default, but this just basically says, if you're using this to format the copy, do you then want to apply the style back to this? Absolutely. I'm going to uncheck my Add to Creative Cloud Library because I'm not going to add this to my library at this time. You can click the Preview button so you can see that everything's working, and click OK. Now, there's my header. Now, how this works is quite simple. If I would like to apply this header paragraph style to any other paragraph in my document, all I have to do is put my cursor anywhere within that paragraph. So what's a paragraph? Well, from here to here is an entire paragraph because it is finished off by a paragraph return. This is a paragraph. This is a paragraph. There's a paragraph return, there's a paragraph return. A paragraph could be a single letter, a number, several words. If I wanted to apply this header style to this paragraph, I don't have to select the entire paragraph. I can just put it in, my cursor into this paragraph. Why don't I have to select it? Because this styles the entire paragraph. Okay? It's paragraph formatting. Does the entire paragraph. I can't go in and do 3 words of a paragraph. That's character styling. Paragraph styling, you put your cursor into that paragraph, you apply that style, and it applies all those attributes to it. Just like that. Now, I don't have to go through and remember what font and size and all the other attributes because I've captured it right here in my paragraph style. I'm going to undo these because I don't want to go and apply those styles to those areas because I'd like to apply a different style. So as I go through, what I'd like to do is begin to format my headlines, my subheads, and my body copy. So next in line here, I've got some body copy. I'm going to select 2 paragraphs worth of body copy so I can get a feel of what size and other attributes I'd like to capture with this. So with those 2 paragraphs fully selected from the very beginning to the very end of that paragraph symbol, I'm going to choose a font that I think is going to work well with this. I think I'm going to stick with the Avenir that I was using before, and I was using the Avenir Condensed. And I think I'm going to use a basic condensed here. That's going to be regular. Now 12 point is pretty big for body copy. Depending on the font size, 9.5, 10, 10.5, 11 works pretty good. Obviously, type is going to change a little bit, so pick and choose which one is going to work best. And I can set my leading, so instead of it being auto leading here, I can go and choose anything that's going to be a very specific size. And maybe I want a little bit more leading here. Okay, that's what I have. And there's my body copy. I'm going to go over to my paragraph formatting here. And if I'd like to have space between my paragraphs of body copy, so they don't just run together, I can go to my paragraph formatting, I can go to my space after, and I can add a little bit of space after every time the paragraph return occurs. Now, another interesting feature is maybe I'd like to indent each and every line of my body copy. Do I put a tab at the very beginning? Absolutely not. If you put a tab at the beginning, that is something else that you have to think about and you have to add. We're going to dial all this in. If you do want a space at the beginning or an indent here, you can apply an indent, and that indent will happen after every paragraph return. This is paragraph formatting. You hit return, you get all the formatting starting all over again. So, I've applied my font, my style, my size, my leading. Go to my paragraph formatting. I said every time a paragraph return occurs, I get this much indent. Every time a paragraph return occurs, I put this much space after. Now if I like this, I'm going to capture this as my body copy. So with this highlighted, paragraph styles drop down, new paragraph style. Paragraph style is going to be called my body copy. Based on no other paragraph style, these are all the attributes. Make sure you apply the style to the selection. Click OK. Now let's see how this works. I'd like to apply this body copy style to other portions of my document. So as long as I put my cursor anywhere within the paragraph and I click on the paragraph style I'd like to apply, it applies to the entire paragraph. Again, here's another paragraph. I'm going to apply it to that. Can I select multiple paragraphs? Yes, I can. Select multiple. Don't need to select all of it, simply because if any of that paragraph is selected, this paragraph formatting will do the entire paragraph. Great. There's my body copy. I'm going to go and I'm going to select my copy here to do a subhead. So I'm going to go back to my character formatting and I'm going to choose another font here. I'm going to do Avenir again, and I'm going to do Avenir Condensed Bold, and I'm going to reduce the size a little bit so I have a headline there. I'm going to go to my paragraph formatting. Maybe I want a little bit of space after this as well. But you know, here I want to separate these out. So if I apply this style and I have a little bit of space after this paragraph, it puts a lot of space after this paragraph here, but I'd also like to shift this down away from my body copy. So, space after, obviously, is going to be space after my paragraph return, which gives me more space after. But I would like to take these subheads and I want to further distance them from any copy up above. So I'm then going to add a little bit of space before as well. So it puts space before the paragraph return and space after the paragraph return too. Nice. So not only do I have kind of this buffer zone before and after, all dialed in, before the paragraph return, after the paragraph return. Great. Now I'm going to capture that as a paragraph style. Paragraph styles panel, drop down menu, new paragraph style, and this is going to be my subhead. Based on no other paragraph style, I click OK. Now, if I click on any of my other subheads that I'd like to apply, I click on those and apply that subhead. This is working fantastic. Now I'm going to go in and format the rest of my content here, applying all my styles. And it works just like I intended it to. Body copy, subhead, and now I have all of my copy formatted that fast. Why do I use paragraph styles? Well, the reasons why I use paragraph styles is because if I need to make a change to something, I'm not going to go in and manually change every single paragraph. If I do, I run the risk of missing something or missing a lot. So here is a really cool trick to go in and use styles to your advantage. I found that I don't like this body copy, and I'd like to change it. Because I've applied the body copy throughout my entire document, all I have to do is go over to my paragraph style, either double-click or right-click and choose Edit on that style I would like to edit. With the Preview button checked, I can now run through all of my formatting here, and I can change and I can watch everything that I've applied this style to change, so I get a very good sense of what's going on. I had chosen this font, and I would like to go with something lighter. Oh, that's too light. That doesn't work. So I go regular. Maybe I try italic. Okay, that could work a little bit better. But you know what? I'm not really digging the condensed version here, so I'm just going to go and I'm going to choose a different style font altogether. I'm going to choose something like this. Okay? Yep, I don't like that either. So let's try this. Now the one thing with this, I don't have the ability to see what these fonts look like when I'm in this drop-down menu. So that's one of the things that It's nice to be able to format this at first, but you can change it. There we go. I think that's looking pretty good, but I think it needs to be a little bit smaller. And I think I need to just tighten up the leading a little bit. Okay, that's working a lot better. Let's go to the indents and spacing. One of the things I'm not liking is I'm not liking this first line indent. So there's my first line indent. I can bump that all in. Another thing I could try is my left indent, where I can just indent all of that copy in from the left edge of my container. So if I'm doing a technical manual or something that requires me to kind of stand off my headline or my subhead a bit, doing the left indent can work quite good. Space after, yep, space after is working really good on all of these. Okay, I think I'm done. I click OK. I've now just edited my body copy, and you can see it changed it everywhere. This is working really good. I'm going to go to my header here. I think I'm going to change the header style a bit, so I can put my cursor in my subhead, double click, and maybe I want to change this font to be a little bit heavier. But what I like to do is make it a little smaller. And I'm going to change the color as well. So I'll go down to my character color, and I think I'm going to tint this back at, say, 65% and click OK. Again, everything changes. Works fantastic. Here's what I don't want to do. If I want to go in and I want to change something, what I'm not going to do is go in and select that paragraph and begin changing the content here, outside of the paragraph style. Once you've applied that paragraph style, you've basically programmed that remote control. And if you don't use the remote control and you begin formatting it this way here, what happens is you get a plus next to your style, saying that whatever you've applied here does not match to what you now have just done. How can you tell when the styles have been misapplied or things are not matching? Click on this little A plus here, and anything that highlights in green tells you that this highlighted green area does not match the style. That means you've done something after you've applied the style, and what you see on screen doesn't match. Some of the attributes may match. So here, when you hover over that plus, and it tells you Option or Alt click to clear. So if you hold down your Option or Alt key and click on that plus, it will clear what they call overrides, things that do not match your style. Removes them. So, and this could be anything. It could be point size, it could be font, it could be style, it could be additional spacing, before or after. Here I put a little bit of extra space after, and the green shows up here, telling me that it's not the actual character formatting issue, it's a paragraph formatting issue. This doesn't match the style here. So again, Option or Alt, or you can simply right-click, and you can apply this again in clearing the overrides. That's the same as doing the Option or Alt click. It brings it all back. Okay? Done. Now, this is super helpful because you don't want to go in and create a style and then start manually changing things. That's the whole part of creating a style. So you have consistency on everything that you do. Everything. So pretty much everything should have a style in it. Now, it's hard to go in and edit a style here and change your basic formatting here and change the font without really seeing what's happening. Now with the preview button turned on, you can see this, but you don't see your fonts. So when I change this content, I have to kind of watch and see as I work here, which works. Okay, you can do it that way as well. One thing that I'm definitely going to change is the hyphenation. I don't like hyphenation. I'm going to turn off all the hyphenation throughout my document. Hyphenation is something that works great for typewriters, not good in today's day and age when you have total control over how you can make the type flow. You can turn off the hyphenation. Okay, now I don't have to worry about any of my hyphenated content right here. So I like that. So what happens if you do go in and select an entire paragraph here, and you decide that you are going to manually change your content? So you're using your font drop-down menu, you're looking for a font that you really like, you find a font that you think is going to work well for this, and you decide that this is the font that you want to have. So I go through and I say, okay, this is the font that I want to have, and this is the size that I want to have it at, and this is the leading and the spacing. I like this. Okay? What do we do? Well, clearly, this does not match my style. It's all highlighted in green because I've turned on my little override indicator. But it's like, yeah, this is what I really want to have. How do I take this style and apply this to my body copy? Well, I've gone in and I've created content that doesn't match my style, but I'd like this new override to be my new style. So I formatted it here. I'm going to go over to my paragraph style and right-click on this style. And based on what I have selected, I'm going to redefine the style based on what I've manually done here. Now all my style changes to match. So that's kind of the manual override of doing this, saying, no, I want to do this manually. I want to be able to see what this looks like on screen. And once I find something that I like, I'm going to reapply this. Another thing that I'm going to do with this is I think the tracking is a little bit tight on here. So if I go to my tracking, I'm going to go in and I'm going to track it ever so slightly tighter here. And again, I now get the green showing me that that style doesn't match because I've manually applied that. I'm going to right-click on the style that I've overridden, and I'm going to redefine the style, and that's going to take into account my tracking and track everything tighter. I find this to be super helpful, and it also makes sure that every single thing in the document is formatted so that you have consistency. That is of the utmost importance. Now let's talk about some of the things that you run into when we deal with paragraph styles. When I'm flowing copy in, I may want to break a line of copy so that it goes to the next line. So usually I hit return. However, when I hit return, what happens? When I hit return, it starts the paragraph formatting all over. So the paragraph formatting starts all over and I get my space. People don't like that. So then they resort to doing things like this, multiple spaces. No. Or hitting the tab key multiple times to break the line. Absolutely not. If you have to press the space, the tab, or the return key more than once, you're doing it wrong. I'd like to break this line, but I don't want to start a new paragraph. That starts a new paragraph, and then you start messing with everything else. No, the paragraph formatting is doing exactly what it should do. I want to break this line without putting a paragraph format in. So I'm going to choose Shift Return. This is a soft return. That hockey stick. That's a soft return. A soft return is not a paragraph return. It is a line break. With a line break, it's not a paragraph return, so the paragraph formatting does not start over again. So if I want to do a soft return, that's what I get. It breaks the line without creating a paragraph format. That's a nice thing to have. As you go through, you notice that some of these are highlighted in red and some of these are highlighted in green. I have my spelling turned on. Under Edit, Spelling, Dynamic Spelling is turned on. What is dynamic spelling? Well, dynamic spelling allows you to see any of these areas that are in red. It thinks it's a spelling error. Or anything that's in green, thinks it's a capitalization issue. You can right-click and you can solve that problem. So if I have something that's spelled wrong and it shows up in red, put your cursor on there, right-click, choose from a list of properly spelled words, apply that, and that takes care of that. So now, with our paragraph formatting taken care of here, we have our subhead, body copy, and header. We can create as many of these paragraph formatted. As we go and we put more text in, you may want to do something like this. A little bit of intro here. Let's do something that's based on another body copy. So here, a couple areas I have an intro to my body copy. Maybe something that's, I want to put an italic or something like that. I want it to be just like the body copy, but I want it to say be italic. Okay? Well, I have two options. I could select this. I could go and I could create a different typeface or choose a different typeface here. Say, here's what I'd like. and then go in and create a brand new paragraph and say, this is my body copy italic. But you'll notice when I do this, because I went and I made this italic, when I called up my new paragraph style, I'm going to call this body copy italic. This is based on body copy. Why? Because that was the format that I had before. So when you base something on something else, that says, I want to keep the formatting that's there originally, kind of the base formatting, and I just want to change one thing. Why would I do this? Well, here, when I'm using body copy, I'd like to apply the body copy, but the body copy italic I may use for emphasis. Now, the reason why I do body copy italic is because I may be using something in the body copy formatting here, but I want to create another paragraph style, but keep it all the same with the exception of, say, adding italic. So in this case, basing it on the body copy makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't do this if I was doing something with body copy and then base it on my headline, and you'll see why. I want to keep it kind of in the same family. So I'm going to click OK, and there is my body copy italic. So I'm going to select this paragraph and do body copy italic as well. And this allows me to create kind of like this little intro at the beginning. It's like, okay, that's a nice thing to have. Now, when you base one style on another, this is what happens. If I decide that I would like to edit my body copy, right-click on the Edit Body Copy, and I would like to change some basic formatting here, like the size. I'm going to make it smaller. You'll notice that my body copy changes, but my body copy italic also changes. Why does it do that? That is because my body copy italic is based on these attributes. So this makes sense, because if this were a totally separate paragraph style that was based on nothing, I would have to change my body copy, and then I would have to go in to my body copy italic and make sure that I make the same changes to this as I did to my body copy. But because they're based on each other, that makes a whole lot more sense. So again, I probably wouldn't base my body copy italic on my headline here because there's no correlation whatsoever. But here, the body copy italic, when I edit this, it is based on all the attributes of the body copy plus something slightly different. Okay? So they kind of work together as a family. That could be something nice to have. Now, once I get my formatting done and I think everything looks good, I'm set to flow copy in and be able to use all of my paragraph styling just like I should. Now, soft returns don't mess with the styling at all. Soft returns are just a great way to break the copy and make that all work. So, don't have to worry about that. But if you do go in and put in a paragraph return, you're going to see that you're going to get the formatting starting all over. So this is just more ways to understand how to get the copy to flow the way you want it to flow correctly. Now let's talk about character styles. Character styles are meant to be formatting for characters only. So in here, I've got a lot of areas that I may need to make bold. I don't want to make the entire paragraph bold, because if I did, I would create an entire paragraph style. But in some cases, I would like to go and make certain items bold. So as I go through, I'm going to zoom in, and there's certain areas like, but I'm calling out a specific item, I would like to go and just make this bold. If I make a paragraph style, it's going to format the entire paragraph. Not what I want. I just want characters or words. So why couldn't I just go in here and choose a bold version of this? Okay, make it bold. I could. But with my highlighter, my override highlighter on, this shows me that this doesn't match the style. Now the problem with this is that yes, you can go through and you can highlight all these areas one by one and make it bold. But then if you want to go back and the client says, I don't want that bold, then you have to then take off every single thing that you've done. So we're going to turn this into a character style, so you can edit that one character style and edit everything that is based on that character style. So I'm going to select this style that I've just created here by going in and making this bold. I'm going to turn a character style into this. or this into a character style. So here it is. So I'm going to call this my bold body copy. And this is what I have. Now you'll notice when I'm creating a character style, there's very little that is associated with a character style, because character styles have nothing to do with paragraph formatting. You can't go in and make it left, centered, right, justified, put space before, space after. It's just the font, the style, the size, the color. That's it. So here, I'm going to create this bold body copy based on nothing else and apply the style to the selection. Let's look at the basic character formats. Interesting. These are all completely blank. What makes character styles very unique is that when I've created this bold character style here, you notice that there's no font family or size. And the reason why this doesn't appear is because it is assuming the style that we've applied to this paragraph, and it's taking all those attributes and it's leaving them blank. And I'll show you why, because this is something that's really nice. And the only thing that I really did was I changed the font from whatever font it was in my body copy to bold, which is the reason why this showed up. So these blank style, or these blank areas here in this style, basically said whatever you have formatting in your paragraph style, it's automatically going to go in here. If you fill any of these in right here, then it's going to make it a fixture or absolute size or font or measuring, kerning or tracking here, so that no matter what happens with the paragraph style, then your character style is going to say, no, I want it to be this. If you leave these empty, it's going to assume whatever the paragraph style is in terms of font and size, and all it does is simply just make it bold. So I'm going to click OK. And you'll notice now, when I create that paragraph style, it's no longer highlighted in green as being a style override. Right, because paragraph and character styles are going to work hand in hand. So now when I go through and I work on this, I can highlight the areas in which I'd like to make bold. And this is different than going in and making things bold manually, because manually doing that, it's going to give me the green override here. Now, this is where the character styles really shine. My body copy, I'm going to click on my body copy here, highlight the text, right-click on the body copy, and I'm going to edit the character formats. Okay, I'm going to make it smaller. Do you see how my character formats change as well? Because the 6, 7, 8 point size here, my character format also changes size. The reason why it did that is because when I created my character format here, I left this blank. And that means wherever this character style is applied in the paragraph style, it works together as a family. So by leaving this blank, it simply assumes the size or the font of that paragraph style. That's quite awesome. Could I go in and could I apply a paragraph or a character style to a totally different typeface? Yes. Here I apply the bold, and you see how it makes it bold? And you look and it's like, okay, this typeface is totally different than this. Yes. But when we look at our character style, really the only thing that we've told it to do was to assume the font, the size, and everything else, and just make it bold. That's it. So this character style, I didn't tell it to say what font, what size, or anything. I just said, make it bold. That's it. If I'd like to take a character style off that, I simply can choose none, and it removes the style. Now, something interesting that you may run into. When you flow copy in from a client, you may be applying paragraph styles to your content. And you may click on the content that they give you in a Word document, you flow it all in. And you'll notice when I go and apply a paragraph style, most of the paragraph changes, but not all of it. And this could be really frustrating, especially from a Word document, because you may have URLs or links or something that's bold, and for some reason, you keep applying that style, and it won't get rid of certain content. The reason why is because there is a character style applied. Because a character and paragraph style work together in unison, when you click on a paragraph style, it's going to assume that the character style is something that you want. And no matter how many times you click or how hard you click, you will not get rid of that style. If you would like to format that entire paragraph and strip it of any character styles, go to your paragraph style that you'd like to apply it, right-click, and you can either apply the entire paragraph style, leaving the character styles in place, or you can apply the body copy or your paragraph style and clear any of the character styles so that you completely strip that paragraph of any unneeded or wanted styles. So they do work in unison. So character styles, quite fantastic. Use character styles all the time. Here's one thing that you don't do. You do not apply a character style to an entire paragraph. And the reason why is this. If I click on this paragraph and it shows me body copy, and then I click on this one and it shows me body copy, they look two totally different formats here. And they are. Because this one has a body copy character style applied to the whole thing. No. If you apply it to the entire paragraph, that's what a paragraph style is. Okay? Character styles are for a letter, a word, a couple words, a portion of a sentence. It is not for the entire paragraph. Some people like to apply character styles to the entire paragraph, but then you can't do your indents and spacing and anything else that is triggered by a paragraph return. So, paragraph and character styles. Now, let's show you a little bit more advanced content in here. I have my header right here. I'm going to right-click and edit the header, and I'm going to do a few other things to this in the Paragraph Styles panel. Here, I'm going to do a paragraph rule. I'm going to apply a rule below my paragraph and turn that on. You can see that I get a line across there. I can control the weight of the line, and the line can be the color of my text. Whatever color my text is, the line will be. Or I can create a different color line. I can choose the width of that column or the width of the text, so that line will run from edge to edge of my text container, or just as long as my text. I could also do an offset, which allows me to bump that line down a little bit more so that it's not writing right up against the text. I click OK. There it is. Formatting. I didn't have to go in and draw the line in there. I was able to do this as part of paragraph formatting. That could be kind of cool. Now, one of the other things you've seen in kind of modern graphic design here is like a bar of color behind your text. Do I go in and create a text, a container here, draw the container, and fill it with a color and put it behind there? Sure, you can. Is it a smart way of doing it? Sure. But what happens when you move your text container? The bar doesn't move. And then you won't get the same bar, you won't get it in the same location. So we're going to do our paragraph formatting, and we're going to capture that bar as part of the paragraph formatting. So going to my paragraph style, I'm going to edit that, and I'm going to go down to my paragraph shading. A border will allow me to put a border around that paragraph. Shading allows me to put color behind that paragraph. So I'm going to do shading here, and I turn that on, applies it to every paragraph style, and I can choose whatever color I'd like. I can choose the tint of that color as well, and I can control the offsets here, and the offsets are going to be how much past the top or the bottom, and I can unlink these, so I can do more on the top, more on the bottom. I can go to the left, I can go to the right, and I can put this basically shading this what looks like a box behind my text. Click OK. So every time I have a paragraph and I hit return, it's going to apply that to my paragraph. Okay? If I do my soft return, it breaks it, doesn't create a paragraph return, and that fill, that background bar, comes in. So this could be kind of interesting. All part of my paragraph formatting. Okay? Nothing that I've done have I gone in here and specifically formatted that does not have either a paragraph or character style applied to it. Interesting things. Now, I'm going to select my container, and I'm going to make this into a 2-column container to get my type to flow throughout my entire document. Now, the actual container attributes cannot be captured within a paragraph or character style. So, if I put 2 or 3 columns in this container, that has nothing to do with my actual copy and my styling. That has everything to do with the container itself. Now, looking at this, I now have my drawing basic shapes going across my container. What I'd really like to do is I'd like to put this in the center of both my columns. So I could do it the really not great way, where I cut it out of there, I draw a new container, I put it into a container, and I move the container over the top of this here, and hope that I get this the same on every single page. Very bad idea. So I'm going to undo all of this, and what I'm going to do with this header is I'm going to tell it to do something very unique. And of course I'm going to tell it to do that in the paragraph style. In that paragraph style, we have our span and split columns. I have a 2-column container here. What would I like this paragraph header to do? Well, I'd like it to go in, and I would like to span the columns, okay? All the way across the columns. So I can span all the columns, or as many columns as I'd like. Here I'm just going to say span all the columns. All right? So you'll notice when I chose span the columns, it gave me the space. Why doesn't it go across all the columns? Because, going back to my alignment here, it's aligned left. I'm going to align this on the center. Wow, this is crazy. It allows me to go in and allows me to center that right above my columns, right in there. And also, my copy is now perfectly spaced so that this copy starts right here at this copy. If I were to close up my text container and have this flow, I could have this flow come in and flow over to here. And you can see that no matter how this copy flows, it's going to always give me that buffer. Right there. That's a perfect line, baseline right across there. Now, I'm going to do something else here. Here's a common problem that we're going to solve. You can see my body copy flows in very nicely, but what I don't like is I don't like this last line sitting here all by itself. Now, I could manually fix this, but everything that I do manually is something that I have to remember to do. I don't want to have to remember to do this. So I'm going to get my type tool and put my cursor in here, and I find out this is my body copy. We're going to solve this problem of having just a singular line all by itself, and that's going to be done in our paragraph formatting. So I'm going to right click on the body copy and edit this, and I'm going to go to my keep options. And keep options allow me to set how the lines of the paragraph are going to keep together. So here I'm going to say keep the lines of the paragraph together. And I have a choice. I can say keep them all together, which means all the lines in the paragraph stay together. So if there's not enough space for that paragraph, it will reflow until all the lines are together. Or I can set a minimum. It has to start with at least 2 and end with at least 2. So if you have 3 lines of copy, it will automatically bump it over. Here, it has to satisfy both these parameters. So it has 2 lines here, 2 lines here, and I never have to worry about having these lines break in an odd way because it will always follow this parameter. So let's check this out. So if I close up my container, as if I'm going to chop off that one bottom line, you'll see that it flows to the next one right there. Great. And if I get down here, all 4 fit. If I chop off one of those lines, it automatically bumps that in there to the other 2 lines. So that would be a keep option. Here's another interesting thing that we can do with our content as well. And this doesn't really have to do with paragraph formatting itself, but it does have to do with formatting in general. I may want to take my content here and I might want to break this paragraph, this whole set right here, these multiple paragraphs, this whole section, over to the other side of my column. So do I go in and do multiple returns like this? Absolutely not. Wrong way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put my cursor here at the very end of my last paragraph. And then I'm going to choose not my return key on my actual typing board, but my enter key on my number pad. Well, a lot of people don't have a number pad on the extended keyboard. So what you have to do is you have to hit your function key, okay? And that's going to be your function key on your PC. Or if you have a short keyboard on the Mac, it's also going to be your function key, which we call the FN key. And so you hit function and then return. So on an extended keyboard, you're going to hit enter, which is going to be over on your number pad, or function return. And that's going to create what's called a column break. And a column break, this is the hidden character or the symbol that creates a column break. This breaks everything over to the very next column. Okay? And what that does is that makes sure that when you resize your text container, that copy is firmly broken to the next column. You'll see when I did this, the style got taken off this. So I'm going to select that style again. I'm going to apply that style and get that back. But that is what's called a column break. And if you forget how to do that, you can go under the Type menu, and you can choose Insert Break Character, and there is your column break. So this allows you to break your copy over here. Kind of nice. Now another interesting thing that we can do once we set up our styles is this. If I've got some copy in here that I've put in afterwards, and maybe this copy doesn't match my style because it was just the basic paragraph, which, by the way, folks, a basic paragraph style is exactly that. It's the basic paragraph style when you begin typing in InDesign. It has the font and the size and the kerning, tracking, spacing, because we have to have some base to work with. But here's an interesting trick, and this is one I love. When I come in and I'd like to format this copy, I may not know what copy this style is applied. So I know it's the body copy because I click on it. But what happens if you don't know and you've got lots of styles here? Here is a unique trick that you can do. If you select the eyedropper tool and you go and you select the copy that is already formatted in your document here, and then you apply it to copy that is not formatted, it'll format that copy. And if that copy that you use the eyedropper tool from here has a paragraph style applied to it, it will copy all those attributes and apply that style as well. Now what's interesting about the eyedropper tool is it doesn't matter if a style is applied or not, but it sure makes it nice and easy when you're going in and applying a character style. Here's why. So if I'd like to apply a character style to this section here, I could select that and apply my body copy, then go and select something else here, and then apply my body copy. But check this out. If I highlight the copy, and I go to my eyedropper tool, and I pick up the style here, my loaded cursor now allows me to go and apply that just by dragging over this. And with that loaded cursor, I can then apply again and again and again all of that style. Now, it doesn't matter if it's a character style or a paragraph style, but this is just one of the quick ways you can use the eyedropper tool, basically load it up with the style, and then click and drag over, and in this case, it's a character style, so that anything that I touch applies that style. Make sure I get it all, and it applies. So this could be a really nice kind of efficiency item that speeds up your processing of your styles. So very, very, very interesting. And again, whenever you are doing any type of paragraph or character styling here, make sure your overrides are on, because funny things can happen. You may have done something inadvertently where you've gone in and you've tracked something, you turn on your overrides, and you see that it's like, that's interesting. This isn't styled correctly. Put your cursor in there, right-click on this, clear all the overrides, get it styled back to where you want it to be. So this is just the very basics of understanding what paragraph styles are and what they do. Making sure that everything is consistently formatted, make sure that everything has a style applied to it, and you're going to retain that consistency. Now, one other thing that makes paragraph and character styles so amazing is if you ever need to search for something, you can use your Edit menu, you can do your Find Change, and you can customize this search based on paragraph or character styles. This is a huge time saver. The client has come back and says that they would like to go and search for the word text in here. So I'm going to put in the word text, and I want to change it to copy. But I only want to do it where a particular style is applied. If you don't have styles applied, you're going to have to do this all manually. So if I go in and I find the format, so I'm going to change text to the word copy, but I'm going to search by using my little search function here, and I only want to go and want to search my subheads. That's it. That's all I'm going to search. Then I'm going to click OK. I click Change All, and it says those two areas or those two things have been replaced. It then changed the word copy or text to copy here only in that style. Very interesting. Here's another way. See how it says control here, CTRL? This is perfect. Let's do CTRL, and I want to change this to control. Now, I only want to change it in the body copy. I don't want to change it in the subhead or anything else. So I'm going to go and I'm going to search my entire story. I'm going to remove the subhead format. I'm going to use my search function again and say that I only want to do it where my body copy is. That's it, okay? No place else. So if it occurs in the headline, it's going to ignore it. If it occurs in the subhead, it's going to ignore it. It'll only find that in the body copy. I click the Change All. There was 3 places where it was done, fixed it, ignored everything else. Wonderful. You can also search just character styles too. If you want to search just a character style, you can. So this leaves everything else out. This is why you use it. There's also many other reasons why you do character and paragraph styles, because when it comes to publishing online or doing interactive PDFs, table of contents, or bookmarks, it's all based on paragraph styles. So very important to work with this. Now when you save this file, all of these paragraph styles come with it. And I'm going to click Save. Now if I'd like to bring this into another document, there's 2 ways to do this. I'm going to go into the File menu and create a new document. And the new document comes up, and I click Create. You'll notice my paragraph and character styles are empty. So I call this the cheater method, where I actually go and I copy some of the styles from here just by taking my type tool, clicking and dragging. And then I create another text container in this document and I paste them in. Any of the styles that I've copied and pasted will now come in right here. Now, all of them came in because I had copied everything. I'm going to undo this. Here, what happens if I can't copy and paste or I don't want to open up the other document? Not a problem. I'm going to go to my paragraph styles panel, and I'm going to load all of my styles, not just my paragraph styles. And when I choose Load Styles, then I'm going to go to my Dropbox, and I'm going to call up my InDesign file that has all those styles in it. Don't have to open the file, just go right to it. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click Open. It says here's all the styles. I want to bring them all in. Applies all my styles. And now, if I create a text container, and I have text, I'm going to fill it, right-click and fill it with placeholder text. I'm going to select all the text, fill it with body copy. Now I can go in, and I can make this my subhead, or my headline right here. Maybe this is a subhead right there, like that. This is a subhead as well. Look at that. I can format my copy without any issues, and it's already done. I don't even have to remember any of my content, any of the formatting, what style, what font, anything else that I used. Formatted. Done. If I go and change this into 2 columns, that spans the columns. I have my breaks so that the things won't break oddly. And that's paragraph and character styles.